That is a Hannah Montana intro.
I was like, am I supposed to have the second part to this song?
No, we're not starting the song this week, just the Hannah Montana transition scene noise.
Okay, love that.
Because I have a question, and that question is, are we able to add custom sounds to the soundboard?
Yes.
We should add the Hannah Montana transition sound to the soundboard.
I'll figure out how to do it before we record next time.
Okay. I love it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. Welcome to What the Fuck Is Happening, the podcast.
Oh, yeah. That old chestnut.
Again, not a saying.
It is! Okay.
It is.
I guess.
I was going to say, when Paula is in, we're asking her. But she's in, so Paula.
Hey, hi, how are you?
It is a saying, though, isn't it?
Yeah. It's an American one, though.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll see. She's
So 50-50 either way.
Let's quickly do an elephant in the room before we properly introduce our iconic guest.
Okay.
The elephant in the room this week is Maddie being a big old dum-dum.
No, wait, because this episode's not being released this week, is it? So should we do...
No, it's... oh, wait, no. Sorry, for a second I thought you were addressing me, and I'm like, no, this isn't your podcast, Paula. Congratulations.
It doesn't matter what it is.
Lining up with... So no, we want to make it more relevant. The one we released this week is the one where we'll address how stupid I am.
Fine. Oh my God. The elephant in the room this week is that she won't just let me willy-nilly call you stupid.
Sorry.
Can't a statement be true every week?
Okay, well, our real elephant in the room then, we're switching.
Okay.
Paula.
We have a very iconic guest today.
Very,
We're doing
very
a
iconic.
crossover special
We are.
with Paula from Stumble Through podcast.
Thank you. I wish that I could do an elephant sound. I can try.
Go for it.
Give it a go.
I once saw someone do that and it worked, and I was like, I can do that. No, I can't. It's like narrated voice. No, she could not.
It was a great attempt,
I know,
though. I love you, like, whole ass committed to that. So
I feel really special that you tried. I feel it's very wholesome.
yeah.
I feel like the failure is actually better than if I succeeded. You know?
Fair. No, thank you so much for coming on our podcast.
Yes, we're so
having
excited.
me.
We had an absolute blast on Stumble Through, which is one of my favorite podcasts.
Stop, thank you. I mean, like, stop, but don't stop, but thank you. But oh my God, I don't know what to do with this compliment. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Nick, take over.
Okay, well, I'm very excited for today's episode because
Yes.
I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, on Stumble Through, it's not that often you kind of get to talk about pop culture stuff.
No, we don't really at all.
So I'm excited to kind of get your thoughts on things and
Get into it.
all that kind of stuff. But first, I did have a question. So on Stumble Through, our topic was...
Yes, the admin and ethics of dating apps.
Love
Correct.
that.
And we had a great time talking about it. It was
sure
very
did.
fun.
Thank you.
But I had a question. Okay, it's a would you rather for both of you.
All right.
It's not crazy.
That's all right.
So, like, would you rather swim in your father's semen? It's nothing like that.
What?
Well,
Have you never had that
no,
one?
I need the second part to that one. Don't leave me hanging here.
That's too bad, cliffhanger.
Oh my God.
No, my would you rather is, would you rather go on a blind date that was set up for you by one of your friends, or would you rather go on a date with someone out of a lineup that you've picked based on their appearance? I'm kind of like trying to...
Interesting.
Like a police lineup? Like a Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Like a police lineup where they sing Backstreet Boys.
Yes. I'm like, okay, so is it this kind of thing? Because that's a great anecdote.
I guess the question is really, would you trust one of your friends to set you up with someone on a blind date that you're a good match with, or would you rather do the judge a book by its cover dating app situation and just based on physical appearance choose someone?
Paula, would you like to answer first, or?
Yeah, sure. I think I would probably want to go on a date with someone that my friend had chosen for me, because I think that I would at least hope that this person knows me a little bit and is like, I have observed you both individually and I feel like you would get along.
Yeah.
And therefore there's already a sort of sense of assurance that we are compatible in some ways at least.
Yeah.
And they've already passed the vibe test with a friend. Like, I trust my friend not to send me on a date with someone where I will arrive and within 30 seconds be like, no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trump is
Same.
my president. They're not going to be like...
Oh my God. Man, if I think I actually did end up I did. I ended up going on a date with a guy who was an MMA fighter. So I knew he was an MMA fighter, sort of. I knew he did something to do with wrestling because on his profile he had a photo of him and his big hairy legs wrapped around someone on a blue mat.
Okay, what?
Really? Because I was like, this looks very awkward. Why would you choose to put this on the internet?
That is a very awkward for a dating profile. I won't lie.
But like, he got to me because he did a lot of charity work and he worked full time for a charity, and I was like, oh my goodness, community values. He cares.
Love that.
No.
Oh dear.
It felt like he had read one of those books which teaches like pickup artists, and because I could see him sort of doing things like, you know, the thing where you create a sense of intimacy and like connection by someone with little touches.
Yeah.
And
interesting.
yeah, so the condensation on my wine glass kept on falling off the glass and it would land on my knee, and so he'd just constantly reach out and brush it away. And
That's an invasion of my privacy.
it is, and I didn't like it, but I also was having too many wines on not enough food to try and get through the date, where someone was like, yeah, look, I think the trunk raises some interesting points. And I was like, okay, don't write him off automatically.
Yeah.
He has a different opinion. Maybe he has... no.
Yeah.
No.
Look,
Please no.
that sounds like my nightmare date.
Yeah, truly.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, truly. That'd be one of those ones where I would fake an emergency / I would be like, I need to go to the bathroom and then leave. Like, there are not many instances in which I would do that, but that is definitely one of them.
I think I ended the date by being like, so this is nice. Have a good week. And I was just like, no, we're done. Goodbye. Goodbye, sir. And he was like, oh, do you want me to walk you? No, thank you.
Get as far away from me as
Me,
possible.
like,
Literally.
awkwardly tries to walk confidently away, but for some reason, my heel did that thing where it wasn't even like a tall heel, but like my ankle just gave way.
Yeah.
Randomly, I was like, why? Why would you do this? I was like, now I just look like I'm a drunk small woman walking in the valley at night.
Oof.
Why would I do this to myself?
Iconic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. The endings of
All of the above.
Okay, obviously all of the entirety of a bad date is horrific, but the ending is like one of the layers of hell.
Yeah, Dante's Inferno has nothing on this.
Literally. Because kind of like that, I had a date, and at the end the guy was like, can I give you a kiss? And I was like, no. But I'll give you a hug. You want a hug? I want a hug.
Oh,
I'll hug
it's
you
like-
goodbye. And he was like, no thanks. And went away. And I was like, oh.
Wow. Because at first it
Jesus.
was like, oh, okay, like, no, but it's really cute that you asked for consent. I
Yeah.
really appreciate that. And then it was immediately, oh.
You're that kind of person that turns into a monster the second they're rejected by anything.
Yeah. God.
So yeah, so that was a flop.
Yes.
Anyway,
very much.
What about you?
your
No, I totally agree. I would feel way. You can see that I have like such a keen focus on this, but I would feel way safer, like with knowing that a friend knows them well enough to be like, yes, Maddie.
For sure.
I mean, yeah, look, there was no right answer, but you both answered right.
There was a right answer.
I think I'm also very safety oriented as well. Partly because, you know, woman existing in the
Yeah.
world. Partly because 5 foot nothing woman with zero upper
Yeah.
body strength, you know? Like
Yes.
when I go out on dates with people that I've met on dating apps, I have stalked them within an inch of their lives and sent their profile and as much information, usually, you know, like where they work, what they look like,
Yeah.
the location that I'm meeting them to
Yeah.
at least 5 different people.
Yeah,
So
fair.
I'm like, if I don't contact you by 9 a.m. tomorrow, they have killed me, probably.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
fucking fair.
It's so fair.
My instinct is, okay, in the unlikely event that they do turn out to be a serial killer, realistically, like my fate is sealed from the moment that I walk in.
Yeah.
People can kill me with their bare hands by reaching across a table.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I will be damned if they get away with it.
Yeah, that's so fair.
I mean, spoiler alert, but that is the plot of Promising Young Woman.
I haven't, like Carolyn O'Donoghue? No? Different? Oh, the one with Carrie
Mulligan.
Carrie Mulligan.
Mulligan.
Yeah,
So
I
there's,
didn't know how to respond to that because I didn't know if the movie was based on a book.
I can't remember. I thought it might have been, but then I don't think it was because I think that Promising Young Woman by Caroline O'Donoghue is set in an advertising agency, I think.
Interesting.
Well, whatever it
I'd like to
is,
read it,
I'm
but I
sure it's better writing than the
Yeah.
movie Promising Young Woman.
the Oscar
Yeah.
winner.
So, yeah, thank you for answering. That was
Very welcome. Thank you for asking.
I feel like I want to ask you, but I also feel like I already know the answer, which is
oh yeah, no, I would be. if I had to pick them myself, I would be overthinking everything.
Yeah,
So
fair.
it's just safer to go with whatever the best friend thinks.
Yeah.
It's true.
And then at least you have some sort of insurance policy because your friend has put their name on that.
Yeah.
So it's like, if this goes badly, you have got banter fodder until
Yeah.
the day they die.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
God.
Bless.
Wow. Nicholas, set me up with someone said that I can make fun of you on how badly you picked.
You hear this?
She acts like you have bad taste.
She acts like I have bad taste.
I act like, or I know.
That's fucking hilarious because we have the same taste.
Yeah, it's true. That's how I know it's bad.
Yeah, but this is fair.
Oh, no.
You know what? This is fair. This is so fair.
Okay, shall we get
I think we should.
into
Yeah.
the actual questions?
We should get into the actual questions, which is just one big question.
Yeah. So we'll start. I mean, I guess we should introduce it, which is Nicholas.
She hates doing it. She thinks it's so stupid.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Oh, no, wait, right. Scenario. Yeah, no, but you still go. I feel like I always do it.
Okay, if aliens invaded Earth and they were pop culture loving aliens. So imagine, the golden records that they sent out into space with like songs and photos and stuff on them back in like the 80s?
I do remember
No.
that vaguely.
Yeah, well, they did that. And
It sounds like
It was like
something that
extraterrestrials.
it sounds like a Seinfeld bit though. Like
It
it doesn't
does.
sound real.
No.
but it's true, and they were on like solid gold records.
Oh my God.
And they
That's
sent them out into
crazy.
space to float through space forever.
Who did they send? Please tell me it was like, good stuff. So it was like Queen, Tina Turner, like
It was stuff like that.
Tell me something
And there was like
tell me
a
it's Freddie
greeting.
Mercury.
There was a greeting in every language, I think.
Whack. As
was
if
stuff like
any
that.
of them are going to speak Earth language.
Do
Iconic.
you speak Earth?
At least it's better than just sending it just in English. I will give them that.
Yeah.
And if we sent it in 2022, it'd just be like they open a penis picture.
Oh no.
So no,
Okay,
these
anyway.
culture-loving aliens, pop culture-loving aliens, they come to Earth and they invade, and they say, "Hey, peoples of Earth, we're gonna kill anyone who can't name the 3 pieces of pop culture that they think shaped who they are, defined their personality, had a big impact on their lives, their childhood, whatever. Just 3 pieces of pop culture that mean something to you. If you can't name 3, you die,
Oh wow. Okay.
and that does mean all
Pressure.
babies." Because they
Oh
can't
my
say.
god! So the fate of the planet is in my hands, or in everyone's hands. So like anyone, they'll ask every person. This is going to take a while. There's going to be a lot of admin, guys.
There is.
No, let's make it. It's all in your hands. It's
my
like
God.
a really high stakes.
Oh, wig. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to put that much pressure on our guest, but
I am. I'll take control. of the
everyone dies if you
situation.
can't answer.
Oh my god!
Everyone.
You have a lot of faith in my abilities to operate under pressure.
But our side note is truly nothing matters.
Yeah.
If you have 4 answers, if you have 10, if you have 1, it's all amazing that you even thought about it. And we are grateful and thankful.
Yes.
So, saying that,
Yeah.
should we jump into the first thing that you
Okay.
perhaps thought of?
So fortunately, you allowed me some time to prepare, and I hope that the aliens would be courteous enough to do the same. They'd give me like 15 minutes to just
Yep.
calm my
Think on
nerves
this.
and think. So I don't know if this is, the 3 most defining or whatever, but 3 of the most defining pieces of
Okay.
pop culture.
Love that.
I'm going to start with when I was, I think, 11.
I love when they start with the story. Okay. Yeah.
So I was 11, and I haven't ever been like super into music. There
Yeah.
are people who they love music so much, and they treat it like, they treat listening to an album like reading a book. Like it's a full-on activity. They love doing it. Never been that way.
Yeah.
My first ever CD was bought for me by my mum because she figured that I should probably have a CD.
Iconic.
It was Atomic Kitten, number 1.
Okay.
I don't know which iteration of Atomic Kitten because I
Right.
understand that a lot of people came and went, but it was one of them, and it was very 2000s. It was in like this sort of bluey, purpley. There were the tall boots with the pointy
Love it.
toes and the
Stunning.
small, and yeah, there was that. But this specific story takes place when I was 11, and I figured, it might be nice to have something to listen to. I'll go and raid my dad's CD collection. And one of the CDs which I found was Frank Sinatra's Greatest Hits.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Talk about cultured. Okay, cultured queen.
I don't know about cultured. I am 85 at heart. So, and I became obsessed. I really, and still do, really love Frank Sinatra. I really love swing music and jazz. And I think really shaped the music that I like and given me, I suppose, a new appreciation for how music has evolved and how prolific things can be. And look, what I will say about Frank Sinatra is that he's also a very interesting character. Absolutely, he's not all good, all bad. He is problematic in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But he's very interesting. I mean, at the time of his death, the FBI had a 275-page file on him.
Iconic.
Like, there are rumors and some evidence to suggest that he helped Kennedy get elected. Like, he was deep in with mobs, but he also was one of the first people. So Elizabeth Taylor was one of the first high-profile public figure movie stars to create a charity with her money and, like, actually start like a social initiative. She was one of the first. Like, most people, it was like philanthropy and they'd like find one that already existed or something like that. Elizabeth Taylor started the AIDS Foundation, right? Before her, Frank Sinatra was one of the first people to be a movie star who lent his voice to a social cause, and this specifically was segregation. And he was like, this is bullshit. Like, there was a very famous incident where, so there's the Rat Pack, right? There's Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and Sammy Davis Jr., and maybe one other guy. I don't know. I don't know.
An unknown fourth.
And that dude probably paid Blaze or something. But because, it was, the 50s, 60s or something at the time, they would tour around. And Sammy Davis Jr., one of the most prolific and talented performers ever, full stop, particularly of that age, was made to go and stay in hotels specifically for black people, which, weren't as well appointed. And Frank Sinatra had a very public outburst where he lost his shit.
Love that.
And he, had an out-and-out fight, not like a physical fight, but he made enough of a stink at, I think it was something like the Ritz-Carlton or something. And he was like, no, he stays with us. He's one of the acts, don't be ridiculous. And I admire, because it wasn't... Obviously, I don't think that we should necessarily applaud people for doing the right thing. However, I think that it was different at the time because celebrities weren't expected to do stuff like that. In fact, it was quite, weird. Yeah. But he was unapologetic about it. He did a number of, public ads and things where he'd, talk about how kids in neighborhoods needed to get along and stop, creating small gangs and things and fighting each other. And I really admire that about him.
Yeah.
He's also just a really interesting guy. So Frank Sinatra's my first one.
I love it.
I feel like
I have so many questions.
That generation of people, the creators in that period, are such interesting people, because if they didn't serve in the war, then they grew up with the backdrop of it. Like their people directly above them did. So I feel like they're just such an interesting there's this really interesting mix of being broken and having no expectations about society being good, and also they're the ones who are really starting to believe in social causes and starting to try and push them forward, whatever they be, whatever they are. So
I think you're right. It's interesting that there seem to be a collective dawning at this point. I say it dawned on people that star power could be more than just getting a great movie.
Yes.
And Frank Sinatra's career, we think of him as this big star, and he did. He spanned, I think, 4 to 5 different generations. However, he had some real bad periods. Did you know he won an Oscar?
Wow.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra for a movie where he played this drunken Navy officer. He won, I think, Best Supporting Actor.
Wow, iconic.
It was really good. And then he made some shit movies. And then he tried to basically be the Jackson 5 at one point. And I was like, oh, Frank, please, you're clearly having a midlife crisis. Please don't.
Iconic.
Please.
I don't even think of him as an actor. I automatically just think of him as a singer.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think
Nicholas.
I think I always kind of think of him as one of those all-around talents.
Interesting.
I don't know why. I think we're just, when you reach that level of star power,
it's
just like
Lady Gaga.
For sure.
Just like Lady Gaga. Okay, I have so many questions. My first question is, when you first, at age 11, found this CD and listened to it, were you at that age intrigued by all of the history and...
Oh, no, I looked into that later. I just enjoyed, it was boppy and it was fun. It was quite different to things that I'd heard on the radio, which was, what was this? Like early to mid 2000s or something. So like very, very different to things that I was hearing. And I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah. I love it.
Which then I think after I listened to enough, so I played that CD to death. And then I think I went and I got gifted another one of his CDs. And then after that, I think I started to, you know, just Google him occasionally and then, and then sort of watch the odd documentary when they were available. But so interesting.
Genuinely, yeah. I love it.
I love it too. Wow.
Do you know what your first CD was?
Not the one that I would...
That you bought for yourself? Still no?
No, I have a very clear memory of a very specific CD from my childhood, but it was one of my dad's. It was like, I think it was like top 10 hits. I don't know if it was the 70s or the 80s, but there was like 2 songs on there that I really loved. And so whenever we were in the car, I was like, Dad, put this song on.
Was it like Wake Me Up Before You Go Go?
No, it wasn't. It was actually, I don't even know what it was called, but I'll send it to you because you'll listen to it and be like, I've never heard this song before. Whereas I, as a 5-year-old, was like, this is peak music.
Iconic.
Is it one of those songs where like you listen to it now and you're like, oh God, I was a 5-year-old singing this. Oh no. And like, as a 5-year-old, you have no concept.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, why did anyone let their children listen to Barbie Girl by Aqua?
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, that's me with Not Fair by Lily Allen. I was like, why was I allowed to sing this? Or Low by Flo Rida.
Iconic. You and Your Hand by Pink for me.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
My first CD that I bought myself was, I mean, I'm not going to count like So Fresh hits of 2007, but my first one that wasn't like a compilation thing would have been, I think, the Rogue Traders.
Whack.
Sorry, who?
Do you know Natalie Bassingthwaite?
I have heard of that name. I could not.
She's an Aussie singer, an actress on Home and Away and a bunch of things, and had a band in the 2000s called Rogue Traders that had truly like three songs that were fantastic.
Awesome.
I think they were like 1-hit wonders, but it happened 3 times. So like,
Okay.
3-hit wonders.
Nice, great.
You know?
Yeah.
The Voodoo Child.
Fucking love that song.
What? I know it's a song. I don't know how it goes though.
Baby, you are my voodoo. Is that it?
Yeah.
My voodoo child. Yeah.
Oh, you know that's one of the songs that they always play in like those early 2000s movies with a montage,
Yeah.
or
Yes.
like when the cheeky kids are running away from the mall cops or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's a song that would have been on the Josie and the Pussycats movie soundtrack.
Yeah. Excellent.
No, that I truly love this answer. I think it's iconic. Is there any contemporary artists that you kind of vibe with
Oh yeah.
in a
plenty.
similar vein, perhaps? Maybe not jazz and swing, but
Like someone who I've sort of got an equal love / follow everything they do kind of thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Hosier. I really love. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Truly.
that man. And then who else do I like? Let me consult my Spotify.
Oh, no, it's so okay. You don't have to.
Let me. That's all right. I've got the phone in my hand. I might as well. What is that?
Are there any like? Has jazz and stuff kind of not like died out, but has it kind of?
I think it's influenced a lot of things. Like, I do quite enjoy the 1975, and when you listen to them, particularly their early albums, you can, like, they've got a sax player in there.
Yeah.
You know, it's great. I think that jazz as itself is coming back. I think that right now, well, I don't know, maybe it's just my Spotify algorithm, you know, but I think that I'm hearing a lot more jazzy songs, or songs which are pop but start with, like, a jazz introduction.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, isn't there, like, a Maggie Rogers song or something?
The Knife? No, is that Haim?
Something similar. Like there are, you know, you have like this sort of jazzy introduction, and then very much a pop song.
Adele's latest album has a few, I think, that are match
Same
that
with
description.
Lizzo.
Yeah.
Because I Love You.
No, I love that.
Yep.
That's like one of my top 3 favorite albums.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's good. Lizzo in general. Just
Lizzo's an icon, a legend, and she is the moment. So have you listened to like people like, the rest of the Rat Pack and Tony Bennett and...
Not Tony Bennett. I don't think I've heard of him before. Awkward. Who? Yeah, I sort of like Sammy Davis Jr. I think I like the idea of Dean Martin until I think too much about it, and then I get sad for him because, like, one of my favorite things is that they used to introduce him when they were doing shows, and it was just like, and now direct from the bar, it's Mr. Dean Martin, which is hilarious, but also like, oh, Dean.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Side note, you should be doing voices for animated movies.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Low-key, you can actually hear me do like 2 minutes of voice acting on 2 episodes. They're on YouTube of Shopkins. I was Lola Rollerblade.
Wow.
Where I literally just was like, whoa! And then I was, it was like some little, like a, oh God, but you play it with the Xbox. It's like a little, the thing that you hold.
The controller?
Yes, that one.
I was like, she can't mean controller, can she?
She does. She doesn't play the games. Like, I am so bad. Mario Kart, man. Like, it's a no.
I crush at Mario Kart. Just
Nice.
throwing that out there.
Awesome. Can we be on the same team and can you drive?
Yes.
Me, but like actual IRL driving. Interesting.
Yeah, I do quite enjoy, I guess, if we're talking about older singers, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, love some Bing Crosby. Like, he's quite kitsch. I love that it's so silly. One of my favorite songs of his is Swing on a Star.
Iconic.
Which is so, but do you know it?
No.
Okay, all right. I'm terrible, but we'll do it. So it goes like, would you like to swing on a star, carry moonbeams home in a jar, and be better off than you are? Woo. Or would you rather be a mule? A mule is an animal with long, funny ears. He kicks up at anything he hears.
What an icon.
It's like his back is brawny, but his brain is weak. He's just plain stupid with a stubborn streak. But then again, if you don't go to school, well, then you'll end up to be a mule or something like that.
That's so fucking funny.
Iconic. What an icon.
It's so silly.
He said you wanted this really deep intro to turn into complete camp.
I love it.
That's so funny.
It's so fun.
Thinking about all of these, 60s and 70s artists, really, we don't have that many singers nowadays that have such distinct voices. Like, you think of Sammy Davis Jr., you think of Frank Sinatra, you can hear the voice.
Yeah, I think it's because there wasn't a lot of production done back there, And
True.
It's very cool, but to a certain extent, maybe it just changes the relationship that you have. Like, the music isn't just Lorde singing,
Yeah.
It's the sound of Lorde working with her producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
With layers of vocals and yeah.
Yeah. Which is, it's
Interesting.
fun and it's interesting, but it's not the same. And you're right, like, to a certain extent now, sometimes things just, voices struggle to be distinctive in a way. Yeah.
It's also probably a little bit because there's more of them as well.
Well, that's true
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
That's true too. I was just going to say, we brought you onto a pop culture podcast and asked you to compare and contrast like, the music of then to now.
Like,
Sorry about that.
I wish that I could give a good answer, but alas, I know nothing.
This is fair. I love it. Did you watch the Billie Holiday movie, United States vs. Billie Holiday?
No, I haven't. What's that?
It's a movie.
God,
it's just a biography. But it's good.
Awesome.
That's all. That's the
my
entire
watch
thing I
list.
have to say.
Awesome. I'm very keen.
So it's enjoyable.
Heck yeah.
It got nominated for, I think, a bunch of Oscars
Yeah.
last year.
That makes sense. I really want to watch. Nina Simone. So her voice, incredibly distinctive,
Yep.
right? And just an icon. Like,
Yeah.
Oh my God, you dig into the work that she did, and it's just like, how did one person fit so much into their one single life.
Yeah.
You know, it's just incredible. What I've been meaning to watch is What Happened, Miss Simone.
That's a Netflix one?
I think it was on Netflix. I don't
know that it is.
Yeah, I don't know if it is now. But anyway, that's on my list too.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes.
Wow, okay, you've made me on my list. I love it. That's a fantastic answer.
Thank you.
It's different. It's fun. It came
is
with
different.
a story.
Love that. Yes.
Bless.
Do you want my second one?
Okay. Want to move on to number 2?
Number 2, you will all be very familiar with this one.
What if we're like, hoomst?
You absolutely will know. So the second one, and look, it was a massive influence, but not in good ways.
Okay.
So the next one is the Twilight Saga.
Perfect.
I enjoyed it so much at the time, but it reaffirmed some really damaging beliefs, some really toxic ideas of what a relationship should look like, and how I should behave. And
No joke. Just this week, Maddie and I had a conversation off the podcast about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Immediate question. Are you talking books, movies, both? I'm assuming both.
Both. Definitely both.
Did you read the books first?
Oh, of course. I read the books first. I think I read book 1 and 2, then went to the first movie, then finished the rest of the series, and then watched the rest of the movies.
As they kind of came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, side note, but like, how good was the soundtrack to Twilight?
It went hard.
It was so good. Supermassive black hole.
Yeah, God.
It's a soundtrack to an entire generation of girls, like,
Accurate.
longingly looking out the window.
Truly.
I love
Truly.
it.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. Yeah, let's get into this because
Yeah.
it was fun, but it was not good for me.
Yeah. Okay. So are you talking like the type of behavior that you would allow or the type of behavior that you yourself would engage with, or both?
Or that you just
Both
thought was
engage in.
accepted societally.
I think it's all of the above, you know?
Okay, we were talking about this in the context of I was listening to a podcast. I think it was Like a Virgin, and they mentioned that Stephanie Meyer is like a hardcore Mormon.
Oh, is she a Mormon?
Lives
I knew
in
she
Salt
was
Lake City.
Christian,
Is
but
like
I
an
didn't know she was a
LDS,
Mormon. An LDS? Oh, is that
Latter-day
the...
Saints,
Oh, Latter-day Saints.
which is Mormon.
Oh, is that the one that it's like the Kingdom Hall thing? Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
They have one of those on
and-
Kangaroo Point. They've got the thing, and they've got the shiny...
I think I've seen this actually.
Yeah, it's huge. It's like
Yeah.
this giant, shiny marble building with this big old gold statue with a trumpet thing, and I'm like, wow, they have great groundskeepers.
Iconic. There's one on Sunshine Coast too. But the entire Twilight series was basically written as Stephanie Meyer's answer to modern fiction and supernatural romance in a God-loving way, in like a Mormon, not God-loving, but Mormon way.
Yeah.
And that's so strange because, like,
I need
at
to
no
just
point
quickly-
does it sound too, like, it doesn't feel particularly Christian. There's not a whole lot of love thy neighbor in there. There's not a whole lot of, like, no, do the right thing, be a good person. It's very much sexual repression.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of
Yes.
it is, yes.
Yes, which is classic Mormon.
I'm trying to find the actual, I found like a spark notes of
Iconic.
the actual
I love that.
points.
Oh, man. But, like, I don't know about you, Matt. So you've read, did you do, like, movies? Did you do books? Did you do the whole lot?
I've done both. I think I think I saw Twilight the movie first and then read all of the books and then obviously watched the movies as they kind of came out. But I definitely had read all the books and was very much into it before New Moon came out.
Yeah.
I don't know which one was first, but they all
So it
happened.
was Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse.
Oh,
Breaking
sorry, I
Dawn.
meant like which one if I watched the movie first or read the books first.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But yes.
Fair.
Yeah, so I was very much into it. And when I was reading them, that was year 6 I read them, and New Moon came out for me 2009, so that's, how old am I? God. 13, 12,
Yeah.
11, young.
I think I was a little bit older. This is actually one of the few times in my life that I can definitely say that I was influenced.
Love that.
Because I started reading Twilight because my friend, and still to this day, one of the most intelligent, like critically thinking, just cerebrically witty people that I've ever met. So her name's Anina Fall, and she is, we've lost touch, unfortunately, which is a shame, but like a lovely human being.
Anina, if you're listening.
Hey, slide into my WhatsApp again. And she was so cool. So it's interesting to me looking back that it's like, wow, the image that I have of her, like the memory that I have of her, and even the like person that I know is so different to like this recommendation, you know? Like, to give you some context, so Anina, in South Africa, we have matriculation, and the exams that you sit at the end of year 12 is similar to New South Wales. So you do an exam for every single subject.
Yes.
And sometimes you take on extra subjects. Anina, I think, ended up doing 10 subjects or more in year 12. Wow. And she got top marks in every single one of them. Wow. She was one of the, if not the most highest ranked people in the country that year.
Wow.
Like, she is on another level. Yeah,
wow.
She's just like... the mind boggles.
Yeah.
The mind boggles.
Wow.
Anyway, and it's just like, so I was definitely influenced because we were friends. I liked her. I knew she had good taste in books and stuff, and it wasn't necessarily something too highbrow. Like, we enjoyed being nerdy and reading poetry together in the library. But, you know, we also would read, like, silly books and stuff. And she recommended this so highly, but there was never a point in any of the other silly books that I thought that it was like, wow, this is a bit very teenage girl, you know?
Yeah.
And now I only think that looking back.
Yeah.
Not there's anything bad with that, but it's just like this bizarre moment of like someone that I admired and respected so much for their intelligence and critical thinking put me onto this series, which now in hindsight I'm like, oh, this was not the best, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it because it was a very specific age group of people that really liked these books. And I feel like it just kind of came around for our age at the right time because you're still, I mean, speaking as a white person in a predominantly kind of Christian-focused country, it was like you grow up with the values of, you know, sex is special. You wait for marriage. We want this great romance. And so you're still right at that age where you're kind of getting interested a bit more in like dating and sex and stuff, but the book is still appealing to all of the things that we're taught society is, you know, what we should be aspiring to.
Yeah.
Which I think is why we were particularly susceptible to it at that age. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know about you, but one of the things which and look, going back, I wouldn't ever stop someone from reading the books. I think, you know, enjoy what you want to enjoy.
Yeah.
And there are some fun bits in there. You know, if you want to have joy from it, that's fine. But I would maybe want to discuss with them, like if it was a sibling or a child or whatever of mine.
Yes.
Be like, okay, and let's discuss the fact that we see Bella as intelligent. Fair, whatever.
Yeah.
And we praise her and almost say it's a good thing that she has this stunning lack of self-awareness. Like, just this lack of self-awareness, lack of ways that she's impacting other people. And I think that why I didn't twig onto that at first was because we start the series with her moving across the country for the betterment of like her mum or something. Like she's doing this amazing sacrifice thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a bit like, first off, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That's okay, but like, and we never really address that.
No.
Like, at no point do we go, oh, okay, so maybe we should unpack the fact that Bella felt the need to take care of her mother. And like, it's written point blank in the books, like, I needed to raise my mum.
Yeah.
You know, she was the child and I was the adult in that relationship. But at no point do we unpack that. And to a certain extent, that also isn't reflected in a lot of her other relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was just Stephanie Meyer's not known for consistency.
I could spend hours talking about this, going really deep into this topic. It's so intriguing to me, the character of Bella and the relationship she had with Edward and Jacob to some extent, like that whole macho Jacob Edward fighting. Like, oh god,
I've only read the first two, Twilight and New Moon.
Oh, okay,
and even just from the context of these books, you'll start a page and by the end of it, the character they're talking about will have contradicted themselves 30 times.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't know. But anyway, I found
You found it.
Okay.
The Mormon shit.
Oh, okay. Here we go. I found the Mormon shit.
I may
Spill
get
the
sued for
tea.
that. Basically, she's a hardcore Mormon. Direct quote from the Wikipedia page. Maya is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and does not drink alcohol, doesn't drink coffee, she doesn't smoke, and she doesn't watch R-rated movies, doesn't swear, all that. Similarly, there is no drinking and no smoking, no R-rated stuff in any of the novels, despite pressure by the publisher to include a major sex scene in Breaking Dawn.
And in a way she did, but she didn't.
Yeah.
Well, she was adamant against graphic sex. And then
See, I
some
always felt like that
journalists-
really reflected, again, the age of the readers. It's like, this is not...
well, that's what everyone
Yeah.
thought, but
Yeah,
apparently not,
but
because I think
apparently
most of the readership was not actually teen girls,
Yeah.
it was older women.
I think on that point, it's really interesting to note that, look, I haven't read them in a long time, but it's interesting that she was adamant not to have a graphic sex scene. And yet the way that she described so many other physical contact things
Yeah.
between her and Edward was not necessarily graphic in like my tongue shoving in and out of his mouth
Yeah.
or anything, but like the way that she described how it made her feel was,
Yeah.
you know, not like super erotic, but the subtext was there, man.
Yeah,
and I
you know what it is.
And
Oh,
what's the
absolutely.
Edward novel?
Midnight Sun.
In Midnight
yeah,
Sun,
yeah.
he's like, yes, khaki pants, boner.
What?
Isn't that he describes like the sexiest outfit he's ever seen, and she's wearing like a khaki ankle length skirt?
I think
I
he,
can't remember.
I don't know. Maybe he was like, somehow it was the sexiest outfit I've ever seen. That sounds like
Yeah.
an Edward thing to say.
It does.
But like,
Ugh.
ugh.
Oh, but no, in this respect, there was Lev Grossman, a journalist, stated, some of the series' appeal is due to its lack of sex and its eroticizing of abstinence.
Yeah.
So in a way, the lack of sex was in and of itself sexy.
Yep. Yes.
Really? Because in my mind, I'm like, no. That's what we would call edging.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Literally.
that's building up tension. That's called sexual tension.
Yeah. What was the Twilight spoof movie? Vampires Suck or something?
Yeah.
Where there was the scene where she was like desperate to have sex, but her dad put like the chastity cage
Yes.
around her.
Iconic.
There was not a cruder way to do this, but also not a more accurate
Didn't
way.
he then? Oh god, what? Didn't he also? So like they somehow like got the chastity belt off her, and then he like chainsawed through pubic hair.
Yeah,
Wasn't that
it was
also
something
a
like
thing?
that.
Which is like,
What?
that's something, I guess.
That's the
Okay,
thing that happened.
Certainly something.
all right.
Honestly, the spoof movies of the 2000s. How?
Truly.
What, when, where, why?
And bring them back.
I genuinely thought the Epic movie was high art.
The what?
The Epic movie was a spoof of action movies. It included Harry Potter and Harry Potter and Pirates of the Caribbean and all that.
I've seen it, but I remember nothing.
There's sex jokes about wands and sorcerer's stones and
Probably, almost certainly.
stupid stuff, Narnia.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I am obsessed with the fact that the series becomes a completely different thing if you have the knowledge of her being a Mormon and wanting
Yeah.
to write a novel, a series about, in this genre, the romance fantasy genre, that would fit her views
Yeah.
and beliefs. I
There
think
you
that's
go.
really interesting, and you can read it two different ways then.
Yeah.
As a teen novel or a Mormon novel.
As Mormon erotica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose it's the same as the C.S. Lewis series of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is so very clearly when you know, oh, yeah, it's an allegory for
Yeah,
the
religion.
Bible and, like,
Aslan
Jesus
is
Christ
God.
and his journey. Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah. Aslan is Jesus and he was sacrificed for the...
Should have
yeah.
known
Yeah.
there was a reason they let us read them in primary school.
I got it.
Is there, like, what do you think is the thing that was most... What stands out to you now as something that you wish that you'd been able to go back to your younger self from the Twilight Saga and go, okay, but let's discuss this because it's not healthy.
New Moon.
Yeah, that's
The way,
really true.
the emotional
yeah.
fuckery of New Moon. They're
that's
psychologically
really
torturing each other.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
And just like to a certain extent, I understand. Like, you know, when you are that young, hormonal, and you have your first romance and you
Yeah.
have that first heartbreak, I get it. But like, oh my God, we needed to see like some big old interventions here.
Yeah.
Because that is super duper unhealthy.
Yeah, the extent of Bella's
She jumped off a cliff
depression. Yeah.
because she thought that she could have like
Yeah.
hallucinations of her boyfriend who dumped her.
I do think that the Twilight series changed the course of culture.
And then,
honestly,
like, and Jacob, I was so team Edward, but I'm like, Jacob was actually a really healthy choice. He liked her. He respected her boundaries. He liked her for who she was. He saw things that she was doing that, like, were unsafe for her and that were unlike her and that he didn't like, and he addressed them.
Yeah.
Like, Jacob was great.
Yeah.
And yet we were all like, get out of the way.
Yeah, well, I feel like it's really true. Jacob was great, like, when you look at the context of New Moon, and then you kind of get to Eclipse, and then obviously because she's back with Edward, and then you have Jacob, like, not respecting the choice. It just gets so messy so quickly, as you say, but like, then you're almost romanticizing this idea about boys fighting over you. And
what is up with this romantic idea of people fighting over you? I can think of nothing worse.
Truly.
What a fucking nightmare. Are you kidding me?
The guilt I would have.
Yeah, and just like the whole, it's like, you know what? You two need something, sort yourselves out.
Yeah.
Because I'm out. Like,
honestly, they just need to jack off, get some tension out. That'll be good.
It's so true. Like, when you look at Eclipse, like, Edward kind of holding the idea of sex over Bella's head, like, manipulating her into... She's only going to give her sex if she marries him. He's only going to turn her into a vampire if she marries him. You know, it's like this whole...
Also eternal
real
life
level of...
in Mormonism. If you atone for your sins and you do all the right things, you're granted eternal life.
But, like, how did
Vampires.
Bella atone for her sins or, like, do good things? Because isn't a core part of the Mormon faith going and, like, you know, door knocking and saying, hey, like, join us and, you know, be saved and do good things? And, like, that element of Christianity is just totally meeting. I remember nothing of Bella being like, you know what, and today I will go and volunteer my time for the less fortunate.
Yeah.
And today I will go and, like, get some clothes from the op shop and then do some other good deeds.
You're totally right.
Maybe it was having a vampire child, waiting until marriage to have sex and having the baby. That was her.
I was going to say the only thing that I can think of is her complete devotion.
Yes.
To Edward and wanting to be a vampire.
And yet that is so...
would correlate to complete devotion to the faith.
And yet that doesn't make any sense because, like, if we then equate... Okay, so in Christianity, it's like, okay, so what you're saying is that Bella's worshipping a false god there. She's worshipping an idol and what? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, this entire series, this entire person, Stephanie Meyer, is all fascinating. Back to me thinking that it changed the course of pop culture, I think that it brought... angst and romanticizing emotional trauma. I think it went from being a niche thing for emos only to be made fun of
on Tumblr
into the mainstream in Tumblr and black and white photos and self-harm and stuff to the mainstream and culture, and this is why we have Euphoria.
Still haven't seen, but I need
Interesting, yeah.
I've seen season 1. It's honestly a genuinely good show and it has very great character studies, but it's like, these are teenagers. I don't need to be, this is too much. You're doing too much.
And yet as a teenager you watch those shows and you're like, yeah.
I mean, you think of the amount of shows now and movies and books that are all about angst and love triangles. I mean, obviously it was more prominent just after Twilight, but
I hate love triangles.
you forget the cultural impact that this series had.
Oh yeah, it definitely...
Psychotic. And, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm still obsessed with this series. The movies. I'm obsessed with the movies. They're camp.
They're ridiculous.
They didn't know they were being ridiculous, and that made them camp.
I think that some of them, like Robert Pattinson hated it so much. I think he knew, and he was like, funny. I'm just going to push into it, like go fully into it, because otherwise how are you going to survive, man?
Oh, it's so true.
I think that's the same as the 50 Shades of Grey series.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that Twilight fanfiction?
It was, yes.
What's the one scene in the first one?
She said no!
She said no!
Have you seen the movies?
They're so stupid.
I think I saw one, but I was like, this was meant to be sexy?
It's the opposite of sexy.
They're genuinely bad, terrible
Zero
BDSM
chemistry.
etiquette.
And it's not...
completely clinical. It's all,
Yeah. I'm like, oh.
But they're very funny.
They are hilarious. With a friend. Watching alone, it's, like, boring.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Another great answer. Frank Sinatra, Twilight.
I was going to say, I feel like for me, the thing that really, like, that I still struggle with, like, separating in terms of how it, like, affected me personally is this idea of, like, having the soulmate, because we were talking about New Moon before and about how emotionally dependent Bella was on Edward and how destroyed she was that he left. But a lot of that hinged on the fact that she truly believed that he was like her person. He was it for her.
Right.
There was nobody else. And I
she
feel
did nothing to actually like establish any identity for herself outside of him.
I mean, that too, definitely that was the negative aspect of that. But just like she went into it and she was like so sure. And I mean, obviously, ultimately, the book rewards that because they were mates.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I know, fucking stupid. For me, I was like at that pivotal age where I was reading it and I was like, oh my God, there is that perfect person out there for me and I will know who it is as soon as I meet them, you know.
The Romeo plus Juliet looking through the aquarium moment.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
But we will never discuss how Romeo and Juliet actually ends.
Exactly. You know what?
Obviously
You're
not.
right. Shakespeare's the one who brought teen angst and romanticizing emotional terms. Exactly.
Although at least Shakespeare like had this great, the Friar has this amazing monologue. I don't know. Have you guys read the play?
I have, yeah.
Okay, so remember, I can't remember the exact line, but it's so fucking funny. And Romeo's going to the Friar and he's like, oh my God, this girl, I'm in love with her. She's my entire life. She's amazing. Oh my God. And the Friar's like, so, what, dude, there is still some dirt on your cheek from the tears you cried over Rosaline not 1 week ago.
I love
Romeo
that.
and Juliet is a rebound story.
Oh yeah.
Literally.
Oh yeah.
He just wants to get his dick wet. That's what all men want.
He's like, I have been rejected. I will find someone to validate me. Oh, hello, younger. Well, look, I mean, the age difference wasn't too bad back then.
I mean, frankly, if you watch West Side Story, either adaptation,
I haven't seen it yet. Really want to. I mean, it's ridiculous that I, as like a theatre person, haven't seen it. But there you go.
but I feel like West Side Story kind of highlights, not purposefully, but because it's a screen adaptation, everything's there. You can be like, oh yeah, the age difference is a thing.
Well, what's the age difference in West Side Story?
It's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, okay. So it's what? Romeo was 16 or 17 and Juliet was turning 14.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're older in West Side Story, but it's the same.
Yeah. I suppose different developmental stages for sure, but like not too bad in terms of years. I guess, at least in Romeo and Juliet, there is this entire thing where her dad is like, no, please just like let her have 2 more years.
Yeah.
Come on, she's pretty young. She's pretty young.
Yeah.
Even in the 1500s, they were like, it's a bit young though.
Oh
Yeah, I think in this West Side Story, it's a bigger age gap because there's a bigger age gap in the actors. Because Rachel Ziegler was like literally just out of school. She was still in school when they cast her.
Goodness.
And then her lead is Ansel Elgort, who's I think like almost 30.
Oh, he's got a very round face though, so it's we age differently.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, it's all fascinating.
It is.
It's true. Do you have anything that's, I suppose before we move on to the next one, do you have anything that stands out to you as one thing that you really wish you could talk to a younger self, even if it's not you, like if it's some young person who's just started really enjoying the Twilight Saga? Is there something that you'd be like, okay, enjoy it, but this thing here, let's be careful, not healthy?
I mean, every serious topic in that movie, in the series, I would say needs to be reconsidered.
Yes.
Every serious topic.
The fact that we all just fully accepted that Jasper was part of the Confederate Army and no one questioned that.
That's fucked up. The fact that the entire first novel, frankly, I don't think the way that Bella, not the movie, but the entire first novel, the way that Bella thinks things and processes things, I would say is unhealthy.
Remind me again, I'm not sure I remember.
Oh, she's just like hardcore depresso.
I mean, fair. She's had a terrible upbringing with her mother.
Yeah,
but she like needed medication or something.
Yeah. But she also like, It's interesting because you're right. The way that she considers things, but then the way that she also seems to have this disregard for other people.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand. So let me understand this. You've had this turbulent upbringing with your mother where you basically are lacking connection. Oh, okay, yeah. You are investing all of the connections that you crave and you want with the one romantic one. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in the one person.
Yes.
One person will fulfill me and make me a human being.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you think about it, even as a contained story, each novel and each movie, I guess, is all about narcissism. Every single movie, his entire family has to put themselves on the line to save Bella or to protect Bella or whatever. Like, and it's always, whether she asked for it or not, she's the one who put them in that situation. And then they're
Or
the
was
ones
it
who...
Edward?
I don't care, both of them. They're both
Probably a bit of
fucking
a
young
two.
idiots.
And why is it that, like, okay, so Jessica is put down to being this, like, mean,
Oh, yeah.
snippy little airhead that's annoying. I'm like, Jessica was trying to be her friend, though, quite early on. Wasn't she just there being like, you can sit with us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy, yeah, oh, no, don't waste your time on him. Or, like,
Yeah.
it's just like, why?
She made some
Okay.
points.
She did make some points.
Some good points.
She was the only one who spent time with Bella during New Moon as well, like before she met up with Jacob.
Yeah, it was, yeah, that's right. Was it Jessica and Angela or something?
I don't know if Angela was there. I can't remember from the book. I didn't read the
I can only
book
think
very
of the
much.
movie when she goes to the biker gang.
Yeah,
To
exactly.
get adrenaline.
Oh, my
How
gosh.
iconic. That's another great piece of advice. Don't go to gangs.
Do not. God, that ends badly. That man was very nice.
What a nightmare.
Yeah, truly.
I
All right, we
truly
better-
do feel like we could talk about Twilight further, but let's move
Truly,
on.
yeah.
Let's have a little break from these to talk about
Okay.
what you're watching.
What I'm watching?
What you're watching.
I had to write this down because...
If nothing, it's totally fine.
I watched the things. What did I find?
I
it?
watched things.
Aha! Here we go. So at the moment, what I'm watching is mostly just either comfort watches, so rewatching things like Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Love that.
Love it. Or the Mindy Project, which I got
Interesting.
into like well after the series finished, but really, really fun.
It's really fun, yeah.
Some bits have not aged very well, but you know what? Very fun overall.
I've yet to find a sitcom that has aged well in every aspect. But no, the Mindy Project, I've only seen season 1, but it's genuinely enjoyable.
Yeah, I usually find that a lot of American sitcoms have a lot of cringe humor, and I can't cope.
Yeah.
This is great. I don't
Yeah.
cringe. It's great, and there may be like 1 or 2 moments, but it's fine. So
Yeah. You can get over it. Yeah.
it's very fun.
The Mindy
Fair.
Project, okay, is a lot of your time movie watching time, TV watching time, sitcoms?
Yeah, look, it's mostly comedies at the moment. I don't watch many drama things. I find that I can only really watch drama stuff when there's not a whole lot else going on in my life, because otherwise I'm like, I don't have
Yeah,
the
no,
mental
I'm
and
the same.
emotional capacity.
If I do watch dramas and stuff, it needs to be stuff I've already seen.
Or it needs to be really, really camp.
Yeah.
Fair. Very fair.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I started rewatching the Harry Potter series, which I think is the only series of movies that I can actually separate art from the artist. And I think that's because I had a relationship with the series before.
Yeah, it all happened.
J.K. Rowling turned out to be
A turf.
A terrible
disgusting.
person. Yeah.
Which, by the way, side note, J.K. Rowling could have kept her mouth shut like Stephanie Meyer does
It's true.
and just stayed rich. Anyway,
And the thing is, like, it's interesting because she sounded off about that, right? We previously praised her and rewarded her for sharing extra tidbits about the backstory of characters. And we've been like, yes, tell us more random stuff which doesn't actually apply to the real world, but really applies to our childhood in this fandom. But the minute that, like, she starts to branch out into things that, like, really, really, really matter, it's like,
Yeah.
you're right. She could have just
shut up.
and stayed rich.
Yep.
Yep.
Could have lived a happy little life.
So could we, without knowing, without
Literally.
having
Yeah.
it tainted by that. God
Yeah.
damn.
It's true.
Gross. And the other things I've been watching is basically the new season of Drag Race. I'm rewatching Drag Race UK season 1 before
Iconic.
the International All Stars comes out, and the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Which, by the way,
course.
I had to pause it last night because I was laughing so hard at one moment. This one woman, I'm watching season 5. This one woman, Kenya Moore, is having an argument with another woman, Portia.
Portia.
And Portia's husband is there, Cordell, and he's like a controlling monster. But anyway, Kenya is having an argument with this Portia, and the husband butts in and starts getting all aggressive with her and gross and ill. And then it cuts to a confessional of Kenya, and she's like, I was talking to one bitch and now I'm talking to two bitches. And I had to pause. I was laughing so fucking hard. It was so stupid. Maddie, what are you watching at the moment?
This week I rewatched the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, the first three. I've just started the fourth one last night, but only got halfway through and was like, okay, I need to just go to bed now. I'll watch the end of it.
The fourth one is when Will and What's-Her-Face aren't in it though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, they tried, but there was a big old hole in the middle of the movie.
That's the one with Sam Claflin and the mermaid?
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It was much more boring.
It was so boring because I don't think that they milked that sexual tension or relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
There was just...
Yes.
Yeah, very sad, honestly.
Agreed. And then the fifth one had nothing.
Yes, I feel like I've only watched that once or twice.
I haven't watched it since cinemas.
Yeah,
I just remember it being a CGI mess.
Yeah, same. But I'm keen to watch it and see if I still hate it.
Which, the actors in it, like Kaya Scodelario and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how they flopped so hard, but whatever.
I feel like they relied way too much on sex jokes from what I remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember that. I was probably eating that shit up. Penis! Oh my god!
It was only 2006. We went and saw it in cinema together.
Yeah, probably.
So,
do you remember how much we loved the Angry Birds movie because of the sex jokes?
It was fucking fantastic. I still love it. Have you seen it?
No.
It's a terrible film.
Terrible. So bad.
But they were like, you know how most animated kids movies have those jokes that are just adult enough to go over the kid's head, but for the parents to enjoy. This movie was basically just humor for the parents.
Yeah, it was like balls to the wall, fucking sex jokes,
so fucking
left, right, and center. It was so funny. Yeah,
bad funny, but funny.
Yeah,
stunning. I haven't been watching that much this week. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
for me, there's not a lot to talk about. What was
all right? No, shh. We'll jump straight into your third answer.
Third and final answer. My third and final answer was I was shaped and potentially my love for edutainment, and I think this is one of the things my parents did to foster a lifelong love of learning. A lot of Magic School Bus PC games.
Whack! Oh my god, what an answer.
Yeah.
This is an iconic answer.
This is why I love having guests on the show so much, is because sometimes they just come up with the wildest things.
And it
I'm
triggers
like,
a memory.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I'm like...
taken back. Whack. Okay, wait, but I didn't know there were games. I'm not going to lie. I just... remember the show.
So in South Africa we never got the show. I have never seen an episode of the Magic School Bus ever.
So your entire knowledge about this is games?
Yeah, it's games, and it was really fun. We got to, so you'd go in the Magic School Bus and you were one of the students. So you didn't create an avatar or anything, but you didn't play as someone, you just played as yourself. And I remember 3 of them quite distinctly. We didn't ever do human, I didn't ever get one that was human body, but I got the ocean, the jungle / Amazon, and volcano. Volcano was shit. So shit. Jungle was good, but there was one really hard game where you had to cross the river, and it was a dexterity thing, and you had to you were a monkey and you had to swing on some vines, but the vines were actually snakes, and you had to time it really well. And sometimes if you got the wrong snake, then you would it would bite you and you would die or something.
Oh, Jesus.
And then you have to get across the river with these logs and stuff as well. But that was really fun. I learnt about marsupials and things. And
Love
then,
that.
yeah, the one about the ocean was really fun. I think mostly just because I got to decorate the ocean floor a couple of times.
How
I love
iconic.
This has triggered so many memories of
Wow.
the Blue's Clues educational game, the Bob the Builder educational game.
For some reason, I'm thinking about putt-putt, not miniature putt-putt.
The car?
The car, yeah.
The car.
Yeah, that's what it triggered for me. It was a little purple car, and you also learned things, I think, but not many things. I think it was more of a PC, just actual game.
Oh, okay. Fair. There are so many Australian references and things that I'm just going to assume that's a very nostalgic Australian thing. The healthy Harold means nothing to me.
Oh, healthy fucking Harold.
No.
Sorry.
No memories triggered.
No idea.
Whack. Putt was a
Who is
huge
she? I
part
don't
of
know
my-
her.
I'm sorry to this man. That's iconic. It sounds as though it was more the educational aspect that kind of hooked you.
Not necessarily. I think I got to play fun games, then I would know stuff too.
Yeah.
Which was really fun. It was like bright colors, just difficult enough that it was interesting, but not so difficult that it was like, well, I'm not even going to bother trying.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, like what child doesn't love animal facts?
Truth.
This is true.
When they really mix the facts in with the fun, it really just gets you. It hooks you in.
No hashtag fake news.
Just straight up animal facts.
That's iconic. Would you ever
Play it again.
go to an op shop and try and find a copy?
That is quite the challenge. Look, why not? I mean, look, if I had the opportunity to play it again, sure. I don't think that I'd like it as much because you know it wouldn't be as interesting or
Nostalgia is a hell of a bitch.
That's true.
She will blind you to the faults.
It's true. I recently, it was last Christmas, not the one just gone, the one before, I bought my brother Crash Bandicoot, which he and I had played as kids religiously. And when I bought it, I definitely expected it to be stupid. Like the graphics were terrible, but he and I spent like 3 weeks just sat at his computer trying to get through this game just because we loved like just the memories that it brought on. So sometimes
I think I played the Magic School Bus game Human Body one. I found them on eBay. And
We love it. Okay.
that's that's the one. And it was specifically the CD cover that that triggered something in me.
iconic. No, I haven't played it.
Because I always
exciting.
thought games that had the CD print on them but were still mostly shiny, I don't know if you can see that, I thought they were so cool. I was like, how did they do that? More interesting than the game itself.
Iconic.
So cool.
That's so funny.
Microsoft Magic School Bus explores the rainforest. A fun-filled, fact-packed science adventure.
Wow.
Go off, Queen.
Yes, I remember. And then the one
Wow.
volcano, did they have like this giant boring machine? And then I think the one for the ocean, they were like the bus was a dolphin or something.
There's a
Whack.
solar system one.
Oh, I love the solar system.
Dinosaurs.
Love
Ocean.
dinosaurs.
Animals. Ugh, I can't find volcano.
That's okay.
I found it inside the earth. It's true. The animation on it looks way worse.
Like it sounded like it should have been a cool thing. You know, things explode. You learn about different layers of the earth. But I remember nothing except I knew what a Richter scale was.
Yep.
And I got to plant flowers after a volcano eruption in the game. And that's it. That's all I remember.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, but like, why didn't they teach me about the impact that volcanoes had on like ocean tides and land formations?
Yeah.
And why didn't they talk about the fact that a volcano is formed where two tectonic plates rub up against each other and like the molten lava from the Earth's crust comes up and creates the... Anyway.
I want real facts. Not the bullshit 5-year-old fact.
Absolutely. 7-year-old me was cutting. Like, oh my God, you know? Like she had standards and she was not afraid to tell you that you were not meeting them.
Iconic.
So funny.
I love it.
Love that, honestly.
I'm going to try my darndest to find online emulator of these games.
Ooh.
And I'll send the links to everyone
my
if I
God.
can find them.
So
They
exciting.
usually can. Like, I found a couple of really obscure games using them.
Nice.
Bless. I love it. So,
So,
how long have we been going? I'm scared for the answer.
1 hour and 10 minutes.
I am so sorry. Paula.
My concept of time is terrible at best.
Same.
Especially since pandemic.
Yeah, God.
Well, we'll start wrapping up because we have 3 What the Fuck of the Weeks this week. So,
Yes, we better.
shall I go first?
Yes, you shall.
I might have audio-visual supporting
Wow.
pieces.
My goodness.
But my What the Fuck of the Week this week
Okay.
is Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, God.
Wait, I have so many.
Now, Machine Gun Kelly. Now he's the gentleman who's in a band and he plays the guitar in a funny position, right? And he just proposed to Megan Fox, and then they drank blood or something.
Yes.
You got like half the info right. He's a rapper.
Oh, okay.
Megan Fox stuff. You all got that right. But
Yeah, the Megan Fox, the most important bit, that was correct.
basically, he proposed, right? Mm-hmm. And this fucking... I can't find it.
Oh, you mean the image that they sent out?
Okay, I found it. No, so he got engaged. He designed this very specific ring. I don't know if you've
Oh my god, yes, I have heard about this.
My what the fuck of the week is Machine Gun Kelly making this ring. His idea was, I'll make a ring with 2 gems in it. Stunning, beautiful, off to a great start. 2 different colors to separate their love. They come together, beautiful symbolism. I love it. It's a ring. There's floral design elements to it, and he's designed it basically so that there's thorns coming out of the stems, which the stem's the ring, and there's thorns, and these thorns are positioned that way, right? So the pointy end is
away
facing
from.
up.
Okay, so it's facing up towards the nail.
Up towards the nail.
Okay.
His idea was, if she ever wanted to take the ring off, it would cut her and make her bleed.
What the fuck?
Because love is pain.
Yes.
And he wants that to be represented. The joining of 2 souls is painful. Love is pain. If she ever wants to take it off, she's got to cut herself and she's got to bleed.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
This is so fucking disgusting and toxic and
Very on brand
all
for
around,
Twilight.
Yeah.
I could see that.
all around. Okay, I don't know if you can see it that well, but
I mean, I feel like that's one of those things where it's like, okay,
you can kind of see the sharp bit in between the 2 gems. You can't really zoom in because it's...
I'm not seeing it. Sorry.
Okay, well now my phone's...
So I'll imagine. I'll use my substantial imagination.
Oh, wait.
I feel like this is one of those things where it's like, okay, this is really weird and I don't like it, but if that's for you guys, it's for you. But you should have kept that to yourself. You should not be telling a whole generation of teenage girls that this is what you're
So
aspiring to.
it's 2 separate rings, and they put them together into 2 thorns, and the 2 gems come together. That's the sharp, pointy bit.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's both of the rings have something like that.
Where's the sharp pointy bit?
So it's sort of the perspective. You can't really see it because of the shine. But
Yeah.
Wow.
And I just think that's really gross and really controlling and horrific.
Couldn't you just take both rings off at the same time?
Hopefully.
I don't know if there's a way around it, but his implication was that there was no way to get them off without pain.
Yeah.
That is...
And
ridiculous.
I say, what the fuck?
I agree.
Yeah.
Why is he bragging about this? Why is he thinking this is a good thing to put out into the ether?
Why did his PR team not stop him?
Oh,
He's
God.
definitely got a PR team.
Yeah.
Why? Surely this is one of the things that they would have discussed.
I feel like I think what's happened with these 2 over the past, like, let's say 6 months, is that everyone has become extremely fascinated with their relationship. And I don't think that necessarily means people are like romanticizing it and thinking that it's something to aspire to, but we all talk about it a lot because it's so fucking weird. And I think that they've mistaken that for people
Applauding them and praising them.
And so now they're like, oh my God, we'll just tell all of the really weird things that we do.
Let's just keep one-upping ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas in the like actual fact, we're like, what? Put that away.
Yeah.
They learnt nothing from Meghan Trainor leaking the fact that she and her husband have 2 toilets next to each other.
Yeah. So they can poop at the same time.
Weird.
Wasn't it like so they can pee and hold hands or something gross like that?
That's
Really
That's a lot.
unhygienic. Like,
It's fucking funny as hell.
I mean, 2 toilets, okay, that's not so
And
bad.
the fact
yeah,
that it's the
it's
kid
like-
from Spy Kids is her husband makes it 1,000 times better.
Whack.
look, if it makes them happy, good for them. But I need some private time, thanks.
Very
Yeah,
Yikes.
very
Very,
much
very
so.
that. Maddie, do you have a what the fuck of the week?
Oh,
I mean,
shit.
you have to have one. It's not an option.
Fuck. That's
It's only
right.
an option for the guest.
I forgot that was a thing that was going to be turned around on me. What's my what the fuck of the week? Yeah, okay. It's going to be rose trees, okay?
Rose trees.
Yeah, because I have one out the front and
Speaking of thorns,
yeah, I have one out the front and it like it was difficult to plant and make sure it was going to keep growing. But
Well, yeah, roses in general are not known for their low maintenance.
no, but something I didn't realize is they flower year round, which is
If you prune them and do the soil pH and the blah, blah, blah.
yeah. So I've had mine in there for like 3 or 4 months, and it's flowered continuously throughout that, which firstly was blew my mind. But it's like I get really worried about this tree because I'm like, there'll be like a 2-week period where it has nothing on there. It like drops all of its leaves, no roses, and then it'll start to grow roses. It's just about to get back into the growing roses everywhere phase. Anyway, and that's my whole story. I'm like, I don't know how to judge. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Are you just dropping your leaves and your roses because it's part of the cycle, or are you mad at me? Like, what's going on, girl?
This sounds like a toxic relationship.
She has me in a fucking chokehold.
Yeah, look, there is a reason why the only gardens you will see which have multiple perfectly pruned and beautiful rose bushes are belonging to retarees.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Like, they are a child, basically. They're so finicky. And then they get their roots wet. And then they have some bug. And then,
oh, my God. The leaves. I have black spot all over them and I can't get rid of it. But it's fine. It's still growing and the roses are still coming every now and again. So I must be doing something vaguely acceptable.
So it should turn into a bush, right?
I mean, I don't know. Are they bushes or are they full trees? It's
Well, it's a rose bush, isn't it?
So when you... Wait, what does this thing look like? It's like... Is it like a stick and it has like a
It
round
currently
bit?
just looks like a tiny little sunflower, but it's a rose.
No.
Standing up by itself.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got one trunk, but then it's got
things that come off the side. Yeah, so they'll
like a tree.
Yeah, look, it depends how you grow them. I always remember them being like very small trees.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can have rose bushes, from what I remember.
I think they might be like 2 almost separate things. Like you can have rose trees or you can have a rose bush.
You can have so many. There are lots and lots of different kinds of roses. And then I think if you like interplant them with other things, then it looks like a full-on hedge.
Yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
Animal Crossing.
I don't know, sorry. I've never done Animal Crossing.
Crossbreed
Oh my
the
god.
black roses with more black roses, and you get a gold rose.
Wow.
Wow. That is
I
interesting.
can't say that's ever happened
Wow.
Well,
to me personally in the last 3 months of having a rose bush.
that seems like a you problem. Paula, do you have a what the fuck of the week? And if so, would
Share
you like
it.
to share it?
I do. I just want to quickly check in because timing-wise, do we want to do lighthearted? Do we want to do serious? My
I
serious
want you
one
to do
takes
what
a
you
bit of
feel
time.
more what the fuck passionate about.
Yep. Happy for either, honestly.
Okay. I'll try and be concise. So my what the fuck of the week isn't. Look, it's not particularly timely in a way because unfortunately the amendment has already been made to the bill. It has already passed. It is already legal, but it still frequently upsets me. I think what has upset me is probably so earlier this year with Djokovic and that scandal of him, like, you know, being deported and then he was kept in the same hotel as asylum seekers.
Yes.
And I suppose that sort of just reignited my frustration around how the Australian government treats asylum seekers.
Fuck
Yes.
And the thing that makes me sort of just the what the fuck of last year, I suppose, was the fact that the Australian government passed this amendment to the Migration Act, which allows them to revoke someone's refugee status and detain them indefinitely.
Wow.
So they can, like, even if you've gone through the entire process of, and it's lengthy and it's difficult, and we already don't, like, there are people.
expensive.
It's expensive. And, like, there are people who have spent upwards of 11 years in detention or just in this limbo, and because they're an asylum seeker, so an asylum seeker is different to a refugee. A refugee means you have been processed and you are given a refugee status, which means that, like, what's meant to happen is that the country you are, like, seeking asylum in will allow you to basically do certain things to become a citizen. And you'll be able to get gainful employment, you'll be able to get, like, social security, stuff like that. An asylum seeker is stuck in limbo. They can't legally, like, get a driver's license. They can't access things like Medicare. They can't necessarily get a job. Like, you can, but it's quite difficult, and there's, like, visa requirements. And just the way that we treat them makes me feel physically ill and really angry all the time. And it upsets me so much that they have passed this through. Like, they've rushed through this amendment in May last year. And now a government minister, a single person, it's not even like there are multiple people who have to go through this decision. A single person can decide to revoke someone's refugee status.
Yes.
But they can also, like, I'm just angry that Alex Hawke isn't putting his pen to good use.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
he could single-handedly make the decision to take the Billowheeler family and put them back in Billowheeler.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, he could literally sign his name on a piece of paper and make it happen. And I recognize that the refugee crisis is a complex issue, but I just feel like we are consistently making it worse. And it really upsets me. Yeah.
I actually covered this specific topic in one of my first IR, international relations courses. And it was talking about, it was specifically about the way that Australia frames asylum seekers as, it's called securitization. So basically what he was kind of telling us is that the Australian government has positioned specifically people coming via boat, but generally also the wider kind of asylum seekers, refugees, as like a threat to Australia. And so they have made them out to be these people who are coming to like do whatever, steal our jobs, whatever it is that they think
be up
is
to no good, to perform criminal activity.
yeah. And so they so successfully have marketed that then the Australian government was able to actually like act as if they
marketed them as a threat, and then they were able to behave and treat them like they were a threat.
Yeah, exactly. So they've been able to pass laws because it's this because they're a threat to Australian security, where it's obviously that's actually not the case.
It's
and
so funny.
Very
They're
much
like,
against like the UN Human Rights Charter and stuff.
We're contravening no less than 7 points on the Human Rights Charter.
Yeah, exactly. But because the government has positioned them as a threat, we're like not technically, if that makes we are obviously.
It's so interesting that we're like, oh yeah, okay, so I'm making this decision based on these facts. This fact was written by me.
Yeah, that's literally exactly basically what has happened, and so we've been able to act extremely unlawfully without any repercussion from anybody because we have made them into a threat, even though they're not.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously not everyone, people are filled with, light and dark, all the rest of it. Like, we're complex beings. And of course, there will be some people who don't have the same sort of moral compass, I guess. But I think it's grossly inaccurate to position them all as these terrible, like, criminals. And more than that, like, you are taking these people who are already in the most desperate of situations and keeping them in that limbo state. Like, we know from the lockdowns how poorly and how terribly that affects people's mental health and well-being on a long-term basis. And people have been suffering that and having no idea if that will ever end for them for years.
Yeah.
And it's,
8
you're right.
years. One of them's 8 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
8, there's also 11.
It's pretty terrible, and I find it continually, like, shocking that the international community has either no awareness of it or just doesn't care that it's going on. It's like, guys, can someone – I mean, I know we need to obviously hold our own government accountable, but they're never going to stop doing it unless there is also international pressure. Like, that's just how our government works. They don't make any decisions unless it's going to affect their international standing. It's infuriating. No, I totally, particularly for you, I imagine, is like something that really hits quite close to home.
Yeah, it's, I mean, I'm an immigrant, but I realize how easy it would have been for me to fall in that situation, I guess. I guess just for anyone, like fate is funny that way. I think that there is so little difference between any one of us and people who literally they leave their entire life behind. They leave everyone they've ever known, everything they've ever had, pay an exorbitant amount of money to someone who's probably got some shady-ass morals to get on this leaky boat, to go across the ocean in the hopes that they will be safer. Like, you don't do that unless you are truly desperate.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's expensive. And it's not like, I think we also paint them the government seems to paint them as these like uneducated and like unproductive people of society.
Yeah.
There are doctors and surgeons and scientists on that boat. You know, there are students, and it's just heartbreaking. And you're right. I guess I feel particularly strongly about it because not only am I an immigrant from, Johannesburg isn't the safest place to live.
Yeah,
at the best of times.
not.
And I come from an extremely privileged background. But also, like, my dad's a migration agent. And so, you know, I know a bit more and I have a bit of a more peripheral understanding of the laws and things. And it really upsets me.
Yeah.
A lot.
As it should.
Yeah. It's definitely all around unacceptable.
Yeah. And it's just so frustrating that it feels like it's not even that it feels like we as individuals can't make a dent in this problem, but it feels like even if we band together, there's so little we can do because we've been marching and petitioning, we've been emailing MPs, we've been voting, but it feels like it's still, I don't know what will be enough. I don't know how the situation would change. I know there's the argument that it's like, oh, well, you know, if we made less of a song and dance about us, maybe they could just quietly let in the refugees. I'm like, yeah, you know what? Sure, maybe. But we're so far past that point now.
Oh, yeah.
That there's no chance, you know? Like,
I feel like I would be, personally, I'd be unwilling to do that because I'm like, I have less than no faith in our government to make the right choice like that. Like, they're just... even in things that are like long-term going to be in their favour, like if we look at climate change, for example, and like have the Australian government could be forefront of renewable energy, they're not even going to do that when they stand to gain from it.
Yeah. It's got to be a privately led revolution for the rest of it. And I get it. You know, to a certain extent, we do have this cognitive dissonance in terms of the way that we have an idea of what is right and the way that we also vote and things. Yeah. But it's like, it's a complex issue that I think that we really need to kick up more of a fuss about. And the thing is, even to lawfully migrate to Australia, right? It is really difficult. Yeah. And it is really expensive. And they have a quota which has been going down and down and down over the past decade. You know, I came over with my family on a 457 visa. Both of my parents are, you know, very, like, they're experts. They are working professionals with a lot of, you know, expertise. And we had a fair bit of money in Joburg. We did, you know, like, but at the same time, it was still incredibly difficult for us to get in because we couldn't get in because my dad was a lawyer and so he'd have to requalify. So we had to get in using my mum's skill set in HR. And even then, you know, you have this point system. And for every year you age after a certain point, you get like a negative almost on those things.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and even then, like, you don't get to, as a migrant to Australia, you don't necessarily get to choose where you go. You will get placed where the government wants you. And it's
that's crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy.
I understand there's economics and I understand it's like, well, you know, like housing is tight as it is and the overpopulation, all the rest of them. Like, yes, but that doesn't negate the fact that we are literally committing forms of psychological torture.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. Ugh, it's definitely, it's all around just terrible. A good what the fuck, though.
A very good one.
I can give a lighthearted one, which is that I cried when trying to edit an Instagram reel.
God.
Glitching. And
yeah.
I was up until 1 a.m. just trying to make the cut change on the beat. And
you had more dedication than I would have.
It's for my day job, so like I had to. So it's like
fair.
Must do it.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Shall we start wrapping up?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, I totally just like steamrolled that entire thing.
No,
that's
love
the point
it.
of what the fuck is.
It's true.
What the fuck of the week.
It's true.
Rant over. Thank you
In
for coming to my TED Talk.
Paula.
Yes.
Would you like to share anything you've got going on? Share about your podcast, share your socials.
Why is this the hardest question you've asked me? What have I got going on? God. Yes, I have got season 4 of Stumble Through launching on February 7th, which I'm really excited for. So I think when this goes out, we'll probably already be rolling. But yeah, I'm really excited. We've got a different format this year. So it's going to be like an episode will come out every week for a set number of weeks. That's to make sure that I am able to be consistent and honor my audience and my community, but also like do it in a way that I can actually make the thing. Fair. Yeah. So I'm really excited about that. You can find me on Instagram as @StumbleThroughPod and Facebook, but mostly Instagram. And I do pep talks every Sunday.
Love that. That's amazing.
With genuinely great advice, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Love it.
Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. I've had an absolute ball. Thank you for letting me monologue at you.
Love
you
it.
so haven't. Don't even. We are so grateful that you joined us and that you allowed us on your pod. We had an amazing time there.
Yeah, for sure.
It was so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you for coming.
Great answers to all of our questions. Maddie, by the way, apologies to any people who watch on YouTube, which is no one.
Oh, yes, the video cut out. Oopsies.
Bloody hell.
That's fine. Most of our listeners, and by most I mean all of audio.
I hope that we still have.
I just wanted to acknowledge that.
Yeah, that's so good. I hope that we do. I hope you do like just a clip that you can post on the internet of me attempting to make an elephant. Just like a grainy
I
face.
think we got most of the pod. I'm sure it's fine.
It's only like the last like 20 minutes.
It's only me getting angry at the government.
As you should. As we all should.
We could have included that as an IGTV.
So fucking should have.
I will approach the lector.
Yeah.
I would attend any TED Talk you did. If you want to follow the pod, you can at WTF podcast on Instagram, now TikTok, Twitter, YouTube. All the links down below. All of Paula's links are down below. First little links.
You'll
all
see
the stuff we talked about today, there will also be links to. So some Frank Sinatra songs, all that kind of thing.
Love that. Also, I don't know if anyone's been able to hear the party that's been going on.
I'm sure they can't.
I don't know. It's hard to say if I can hear it because it's being picked up through the microphone or just because it's going like through the headphones.
It's like through the headphones.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Anyway, sorry about that if anyone can hear that.
If it makes them feel any better, we weren't invited to the party either.
No, that's sad.
We're super excited.
Yes. Thank you again for coming on, Paula.
Oh,
thank you very much, Lee.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening to
What the Fuck is Happening, the podcast.